Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be discussing how I learn really fast. So my name is Akinlami if you're just joining us for the first time, and I graduated in civil engineering from civil engineering rather, and I finished with a 4.48 GPA. Too sad, just some points below first class. And one thing I've noticed in both my business career, of course, yes, I do business, I do marketing, I do sales. I basically try to make money however I can, but I don't try to stretch myself too thin. But one thing I've noticed with business, education, whatever field I've done so far is that your ability to learn is directly proportional to your ability to earn. Alright? And that's the reason why in this video I'll be sharing with you how I learn very fast. Because most times when my other friends are reading and all that, I don't really read much. I don't do a lot, but most times I come up with good results. So some people normally think that it is because I am gifted and all that, but I refuse to agree that I'm gifted. I just know how to do things better than many people. So I'm going to be sharing with you 5 ways or 5 methods I use to learn. Now, number 1 is that you have to be willing. To be honest, like if you're not willing to do anything, there is no way. There is literally no way that you're going to do it. That's the reason why one of the worst things that can happen to you is to either hate your mentor or your tutor or hate the field you're in. Because one thing that hate does is that hate comes in between, like this is progress, okay? And this is willingness. So this is hate. So hate is going to like hamper both your progress. Because if you are hating, you won't be willing. And if you're not willing, there's no way you can progress. So it's super important that you have to be willing to learn. Now, number 2 is that don't learn from your experience. Okay, what you should do is that you should learn from the experience of others. This is a surefire way to progress in life, because if you're waiting to learn from your experience, you're going to be automatically making a lot more mistakes. All right, so before you start to take action, it is very important that you observe what everybody has done, those who have done it well and those who have not. The problem we have with this current, or the problem we have in general, is that most times people who fail do not write books. I'm telling you that you're going to learn a lot from somebody who has a failed marriage than somebody who has a successful marriage. Because somebody who has a failed marriage has seen so many different reasons why your marriage will fail. But somebody who has a successful marriage probably has just stuck to one particular pattern that worked for him. And that pattern might not work for you. But somebody with a failed marriage has probably tried multiple patterns and failed in many and got a small percentage of success in the other patterns that he went, but ultimately he failed. So if you think about it, people who fail have the best lessons, but they don't write books, because books are usually written by people who are successful. But there's so much to learn from people who failed than to learn from people who are much more successful, because the whole base of learning is around failure. And that takes me to my third tip, which is do more reps. Now, if you're familiar with gym or working out, reps just simply means repetitions, just doing it over and over again. The more reps you put in, the more progress you can make. The reason why people ask you to put in more reps or to try something over and over again is because you doing something over and over again is going to make you make more mistakes. You might not even necessarily be making mistakes, but you'll be getting a variation of results based on the actions you take. So what I mean is, if the first time you try it in one particular kind of way, you get this result, the third time you get this result, you get the fourth time, to the end. And when you try it in the first way, you get maybe a 40% result. You try the second way or the third way, you get an 80% result. You try the fifth way, you get a 90% result. You try this other way, you get a 10% result. It's only common sense that will tell you that this is what you should be putting your energy into. So the more reps you put into it, or the more mistakes you make, the more you do that thing you're trying to master, the higher your tendency of finding the most efficient way of carrying out that particular activity. So copywriting, for instance, the more copy you write, the better you get. Video editing, the more videos you edit, the better you get. Whatever it is that you're doing, the more you do it, the better you get. And the reason why you're getting it better is because of something called muscle memory. I'm going to recommend this book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and it was written by a plastic surgeon who talked about how your body is an automatic mechanism, which means that if you train your body to do something in a particular kind of way, you do not have to think anymore to carry out that particular task. Let me give you an example. Raise up your hand. Now, you probably just raise up your hand like this, and it was simple and easy for you. But medically, if they explain to you the amount of processes that goes into you raising up your hand, you'll be shocked. Probably maybe this muscle has to be activated, this has to be activated, this has to be activated, and the fingers have to be activated. It's a lot of processes. But your body has done it so many times that you raising your hand, you just hearing raise your hand, automatically wires the body to take that particular action. That's because you've been raising your hand since you were born. So the more you do one particular thing, the more you have muscle memory, and the easier it is for you to take action in that particular thing. If you ask me to write a particular copy for you right now, to be honest, I know that, okay, when you're doing copywriting, you should start with the subject line, then you should start with a good opening statement, then the body of the content should be good. I know that you should have a very strong CTA. I know that you can put a PS. The first day I tried to learn copywriting, I did not know all these things. But the more copy I wrote, the more I understood that this is how it used to be. I remember when I was teaching one of my interns, the guy was interning in my company for copywriting, and as he was learning, there's some things he was omitting, and I started to grow impatient, because if I decide to write something now, my brain already knows that after I write subject line, the next thing should be an opening statement that drags the reader into the copy, or drags, you get what I'm saying? So my brain already knows it. So I started to get impatient. Then I remembered that this guy just started writing copies 2 months ago. I've been writing copies for 3 years. So the more you do something, the better you get at it. Now, apart from you just doing something over and over again, one thing that can help you progress is the amount of reflections. Because if you do all these reps, if you do all these things over and over and over again, and you don't have the ability to identify which is the most efficient, you don't have the ability to identify which is the most efficient, there is no way you keep on like doing the same thing over and over again and just keep on having poor results. So your success, whether you're trying to learn something, it should be in your ability to understand that you need to reflect and choose which is the best method. And that takes us even back to learning, right? For instance, personally, okay, I've noticed that whenever I am studying anything, and as I study, I write. Okay? I know that whenever I study and write at the same time, I'm usually doing much more better. Like, I usually assimilate better. Some people, they usually never forget what they see. Some people, they usually never forget what they hear. I used to have this friend back then in school. He's going to tell me that I should just read it out to him. Anything that makes me read it out to him, there's no way he's forgetting it. So, the more you reflect, the more you understand the system that works for you. Are you a visual learner? Are you an audio learner? Are you an audiovisual learner? Because some of you have to both read and hear in order for you to understand. Alright? So, you having the reflections on, you using different kind of methods. Let's say the 2 methods is visual and audio and audiovisual. You're going to try all these methods, which means you're going to be doing the reps, okay? And as you try all these methods and you're doing the reps, you choose which one is the most efficient for you and you stick to it. And the last but not the least is you need to always ask for genuine feedback. But please don't ask your mom for feedback, okay? because she's always going to want to act nice. Okay, your mom is always like very nice and all that kind of shit. So don't go about asking your mom for feedback. Ask for feedback from people in your industry that matter. All right, because as you're trying to learn anything, it is super important that you need to know if you're on the right path or not. But if you don't have the ability to know what is right and what is wrong, it will be very difficult to know what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. Because there has to be like a template, there has to be like a yardstick. So for instance, if you decide that you want to start running a 100-meter race, and today you run the 100-meter race in 25 seconds, tomorrow you run it in 23 seconds, and next tomorrow you run the 100-meter race in 19 seconds. You might get extremely excited that, oh, I think I can run really fast now. I've been beating my personal best over and over again. But you do not understand that the world record for the 100-meter is 9.6 seconds run by Usain Bolt, right? So you can see that you're making progress, but because you don't have any yardstick, it's very difficult for you to know that you're making progress, but you're not there yet. And that's the reason why you find a lot of people who are extremely confident in their craft, but because they don't understand that there's a standard. You are making progress, yes, but there's a standard you have not met, right? So all these things are things that, especially in business, right? So let me just put this, especially in business, this is how I learn things fast, okay? Especially in business, these are the principles I go with. You have to be willing, right? Don't try to learn from experience, learn from the experience of others. Do things over and over again. And as you do things over again, you have to reflect on your results. Know what is good, know the best approach, then always ask for feedback. Look for a standard so that you know when you're progressing towards that standard or not. So I hope you guys got value from this video as usual. Make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to share with your friends if you want them to come and learn. And yeah, see you guys in the next video.